Hello, you're on the channel Infidelity and Revenge. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do it right now. Enjoy watching. Part 2. I needed someone to talk to, and the only person close to me was my brother Robbie. We were very close as kids, but we chose different paths in life. Robbie spent 5 years in federal prison for drug trafficking and ran in dangerous circles. In comparison, I was a churchgoer, an accountant who paid a lot of taxes and who didn't even have a parking ticket. Robbie and I didn't talk very often, but growing up, Robbie always looked to me for support. I was by his side during his trial and through my contacts was able to get his sentence reduced from a mandatory 20 years to 5 years. I called him that morning. "Hey, Rob, it's me, your big brother. Bro, how you doing? What's up? I got a problem and I need someone to talk to. You got time?" "Sure, what's up?" "Dude, this is hard. Nicole cheated on me, and I just found out. I don't know what to do. I'm all messed up and in pain. I could start drinking, but it's not helping, so I just have to tell someone. I'm sorry to burden you with this. Oh, God, I love Nicole, and I can't believe she did this. Do you know who it was with and how it happened?" "I know who it was with, but I don't know all the details yet. I want revenge on that son of a bitch. Dude, I'm so angry, I want to strangle my wife. Look, I have a lot of friends who have been through this, and I can understand how you feel. You need to let go of your anger. Go to the gym, go for a run, whatever, but you need to calm down. I'm gonna try to help you get through this. You need to face it, gather all the information you can, and then decide what to do. Be composed and try to act as normal as possible, which of course won't be easy. Call me tomorrow and tell me what you've learned, and trust me, I'll be able to help you." "Thanks, Rob, I appreciate your help. I'll call you tomorrow." As I drove by the mattress store on the way out, a thought occurred to me. I parked in the lot and made the first move. I had no intention of ending my marriage until Mary Ann went to college, which meant I would be married for the next 2 years. There was no way I was going to sleep with Nicole again, and I'd be damned if I was going to leave my bedroom. Everything else would come later. I told the sellers I would pay full price if they could deliver 2 full-size beds with all the hardware and arrange for on-site assembly. I paid an additional $100 to disassemble the current king-size bed. I paid and we arranged for delivery today at 4 p.m. I texted Mary Ann to let her know I would pick her up, drove to school, and waited in the parking lot. We went to lunch and I gently explained to her that there would be changes to the house in the near future. "What happened at dinner last night, Daddy? I know something happened, I'm not stupid. Please don't keep me in the dark, it's not fair. Please, you've always been fair to me." "Okay, that's fair, and since it's going to be hard, you have a right to know. I caught your mother and her boss kissing backstage." "Dad, he was probably just congratulating her. Come on, you can't be that crazy over a kiss." After I confronted her face to face, she admitted that they had been having an affair for 3 years. This is something I can't understand, and it's why our relationship changed forever. 3 years. Are you going to divorce her, Dad? Not yet, I'm still sorting it out and we'll stay married, but things will be different and you have to be independent and not take sides. She is your mother and she loves you and this problem is between her and me. You have been a blessing to us and a perfect daughter. I don't want your life to change just because your parents made mistakes. But I ask you not to judge us and just know that we love you more than anything." She cried and said she understood how much it hurt me. I didn't want her to feel bad, but she was right, she needs to know what makes life change in our home. Nicole was surprised to see that we had come home together, and from the look on Mary Ann's face, she realized that I had told her. Mary Ann threw her an angry look and went to her room without saying a word. "Did you tell her?" "She knew something was wrong, and she has a right to know. Things are going to change for us, and she needs to understand why. You can explain it to her when she's recovered from the shock." "What do you mean, when things change? You're not going to get divorced, are you?" "If I do, it won't be now, I want to see how things turn out, and besides, I wouldn't do that to Mary Ann. Starting today, things are definitely going to change. Tommy, you have to let me explain what happened and try to understand. You're my husband, and I love you. Well, you willingly fucked Edward over 500 times behind my back, that's all. Nicole, I don't know what you have to say that any self-respecting man would agree with. Do you really think I'm such a weak man? Obviously, you don't mean it. You know what breaks my heart is that I will no longer be able to enjoy the intimacy I used to love and look forward to. I will never get into bed with you again, and I will miss making love with you, but not as much as I miss your tender kisses and hugs. This will hurt me deeply. Other changes are inevitable. You have broken your marriage vows and our marriage contract. Like you, I will no longer be faithful to you and will seek another relationship. Of course, I've never thought about this before, so it may be some time before I meet women who are pleasant to me. You can keep dating your lover because you'll never get anything else from me. It was as if she had received a blow to the head and physically disengaged from my remarks. She lost her balance and fell backwards onto the couch, shuddering. Nicole obviously didn't realize the consequences of her cheating. Tommy, you must not date other women. It would destroy me and I won't let that happen. I love you. That's not what happened at all. I know it sounds bad, but let me try to explain. Nicole, 500 fucks behind my back, and here you are, suddenly you realize that your promiscuous behavior can have consequences. Yes, Nicole, you changed everything. Don't forget that all of this happened because of your deception, lies, and infidelity. At that moment, the doorbell rang just in time. I let the fitters in and showed them the bed to be dismantled. They set to work. What's going on here? Who are these people? Well, Nicole, since I'm never going to sleep in the same bed with you again, I thought it wouldn't be fair for either of us to move into the guest room, so I bought 2 big beds. Right now our bed is being disassembled and then the new beds will be installed. If you don't like the mattress, you'll have 3 months to choose any other one. We're gonna sleep in separate beds. Yes, since we won't have intimacy, I definitely don't want you in my bed. I can't believe you're doing all this. Yeah, and I can't believe you fucked your boss 500 times behind my back, so we're even. With a sense of pain and regret, I watched as the men cleaned up the bed we had enjoyed for so many years. Regretting being married to a cheating whore. Rob, I can't believe what I found out. My wife, that bitch Nicole, has been sleeping with her boss twice a week for the last 3 years. From what I understand, she has fucked the guy over 500 times behind my back. I must be the blindest person in the world. She has humiliated me in ways I could not even imagine and I don't even know what to do. Who is this guy? Her boss, Edward Cooper. That sucks, sorry, bro. What do you want to happen? I want him to suffer, and I want him to suffer in the worst possible way. This guy's been fucking my wife for years and sending her to my bed. He has hornswoggled and humiliated me for 3 years and I can't deal with it. What about Nicole? She's dead to me. I'm going to divorce her when Mary Ann's in college and destroy her before that. Right now, she's going to live a lonely life because I'm shutting her out. If she tries to divorce me before Mary Ann goes to school, I'll ruin her career and expose her depravity to everyone. Dude, you're in trouble. Come on, I'll take care of Mr. Cooper, and you take care of things at home and make sure everything's okay. Rob, I don't want you to get in trouble, so don't do anything you can get arrested for. You understand me? Sure, brother, don't worry about it. We'll talk again soon. The following weeks at home were tense. Nicole tried to engage me in conversation, but I only gave her one-word answers. I could tell she was upset and tried to get me to forgive her, but I was hurt, angry, and adamant. I immersed myself in my work, came home late every night, and on weekends I was gone. Tensions were high and everyone was walking on eggshells, expecting me to explode. When I got home one evening after a long day at work, I found Nicole waiting to talk to me. After all these years of sleeping together with the only woman I loved, I was now sleeping in a bed just a few feet away from Nicole's bed. It was sad, and I wasn't sure how I was going to make it through the next 2 years until Mary Ann left for college. After my shower, as I lay in my bed, Nicole asked, "Tommy, how was your day?" "Good," I replied dryly. "Tommy, I've been thinking and I want to talk to you about something and see what you think. I know you don't want anything to do with me, but I love you and I want to try to do better, even if it's just small steps. I've been thinking that maybe I should quit my job. We really don't need the extra money and I can spend my time being home for you. What do you think, babe?" As much as I tried to keep my anger under control, when I heard her speaking affectionately to me and trying to take advantage of our intimacy, I just went ballistic. I sat up and spoke in a nasty voice, ignoring the stunned look on her face. "Look, Nicole, I don't give a shit what you do. Work, don't work, fuck your boyfriend, find a new one, it's your life, do what you want. And don't call me baby, or honey, or anything but Tom. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am that you should keep your job and your 2 fuck sessions a week with Edward, because I'll never be with you again, bitch." I rolled onto my other side and lay back against the pillow. I heard Nicole start to sob, realizing how much her betrayal had hurt me. "Tom, you don't have to say anything, but please just let me talk. I can't tell you how bad I feel and how sorry I am for doing this to you. I want you to know that I never stopped loving you. The pain I caused is incommensurate with anything. Not being able to touch you, kiss you, or hug you is killing me. The coldness I feel from you breaks my heart. Yes, I miss you in bed, I can't live without your touch and love. I don't know what to do or how to fix this, but I don't want to lose you. Please know that I'm here when you're ready to talk or ask me anything and I'm ready to tell you everything. Tom, the tension in the house is toxic, and I'm afraid it's spreading to Mary Ann. She's spending more and more time with her friends and doesn't want to be here anymore. I thought maybe we could have counseling to find a way to live together without this hate. I don't expect an answer, but think about it. If not for me, then for Mary Ann. I know it's all my fault, but it's not fair to her. She'll be gone in a few years. But we don't want her to spend those years in a house soaked in hate." I sighed and realized she was right. Mary Ann was reliving this nightmare, and it wasn't fair. After a few seconds, to Nicole's complete shock, I answered, "Okay, make an appointment and I'll go. But let me be clear, I'm doing this for Mary Ann, not you." Nicole smiled and felt that she had made some progress. Her tears were now tears of happiness. "Oh, thank you, Tom. I'll take care of everything." In fact, the next night Nicole told me that she had found a therapist and would meet with her privately the next day. She said the couple's meeting was scheduled for Friday at 3 p.m. I knew Nicole was right, and if I didn't want to get divorced these past 2 years, we had to find a way to live in peace. Mary Ann was very excited when she heard we were going to counseling and was hopeful that there would be a way to get the family back together. She smiled for the first time in weeks. "Tom, Mary Ann was so glad you agreed to couples counseling. You should have seen her smile when I told her," Nicole said that evening when I got home from work. "Every night after work, I went out to dinner because I didn't want to spend time with Nicole. The problem was that I missed Mary Ann and wanted to find a way to be home with my daughter. I missed her smile, her hugs, and the way she called me daddy." Nicole went to her individual counseling session and was completely knocked out that evening. When I got home, I found her crying and I realized that it was probably hard to explain to someone how she had cheated on our family for years. Somehow I had no sympathy or compassion for the woman who had broken my heart. My brother Rob called me later that week. He explained that he was owed some favors by some former acquaintances who had ties to the cartel. The cartel may be ruthless and cold-blooded killers, but they are loyal to their debts. The debt they owed Rob was not in cash, but in favors for what he had done for them. He pleaded guilty, did time, and defended 2 cartel leaders. You don't need to know anything, brother, and the less you know, the better. I'll just say this, you're about to get your revenge. Contacting one of his contacts, Rob explained the situation. They understood and told him that they would take care of it and let him know when it was done. Rob explained that no one has to die, but it should be carried out in a way that he would remember for the rest of his life. Rob gave them the man's name, where he worked, and his phone number. That was all they needed. Rob left it in their hands, and he knew it wouldn't be pretty. The target was Edward Cooper's house. A white van was parked across the street from the Cooper home, and just minutes after Edward pulled into the garage, a young man knocked on the front door. When Lucy Cooper opened the door, 3 men standing nearby jerked the door open and entered the house carrying automatic weapons and a gym bag. Edward heard the commotion and went to the front door to see what was going on. He was immediately grabbed, put in a chair and tied up. The men made Lucy Cooper sit across from her husband and tied her hands to a chair, forcing the couple to stare at each other. "Eddie, you've been a bad boy, and today is Judgment Day," Carlos said in a deep Colombian accent. "You fucked the wrong woman and ruined her marriage. Now you're paying for your sins." Carlos pulled out his 20-centimeter knife and turned to Lucy. "Tell me, Eddie, are you willing to watch your pretty wife bleed to death? Should we kill her for your sins?" He pleaded, "No, don't. Please kill me, not her. I can see you care about your wife, but you're fucking other women. We don't believe you, Eddie. Maybe we'll fuck your wife while you watch. Would you like that, Eddie boy?" "No. Please don't. Lucy, I'm so sorry. It's my fault, and I'm so sorry. You're a fucking asshole. You fucked a married woman and dragged us into this. You bastard, I hope they kill you." The men rolled with laughter when they heard his wife's words. "No one will die today. Yes, it will hurt, but no one will die." They untied Edward's armrests and the 2 men held him in the chair. "Eddie, you will live, but you will live the rest of your life with the memory of what you have done." After applying tourniquets to both hands, one of the men held Edward's hand open while the other took out some pruning shears and began cutting off Edward's fingers in front of his wife. They gagged him with a rag to muffle his screams during the execution. Lucy vomited after the 3rd finger fell to the floor. She tried not to look, but Carlos wouldn't allow it. He held her head and told her to watch and listen. "We'll be leaving in a few minutes, and I suggest you call an ambulance before he bleeds out. If you tell anyone what we look like or what was said, we will come back and kill you and your husband and then take your children and sell them. So I suggest you say as little as possible. Do you understand that, Lucy?" "Yes," she cried. "That goes for your cheating husband, too. If he says anything that brings any of us out, it will not end well. He brought this on himself, and this is his punishment." When he finished speaking, another man tightened the tourniquets on Edward's arms to slow the bleeding. They gathered their things and left, having first untied Lucy and told her to wait 2 minutes before calling. They walked to the van, took off their gloves and coveralls and put them in a large bag, drove onto the highway and were 20 miles south when the police arrived. Fortunately, the ambulance arrived within minutes of the call. They found Lucy beating hysterically, and Edward unconscious, lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Police realized this was no ordinary burglary. Nothing had been stolen and the missing fingers indicated an act of revenge. Lucy was in shock and didn't say a word to the police. She was terrified and dared not speak. Edward also remained silent and pretended to know nothing about the cause of the attack. The police investigated but knew that their efforts would only lead to a dead end. Edward survived, but now he had to do without the aid of his fingers. His life was changed forever, and he knew why. He never thought his actions could have such consequences, especially from a meek accountant. Of course, he had no proof, but Nicole was the only woman he was with besides his wife. When Nicole told him that Tom had found out and ended their affair, he was heartbroken. He was actually in love with Nicole. Apparently, Nicole and Edward considered themselves a couple when they were together and shared their love during their brief time alone together. After their affair had become a habit, neither of them believed that their few hours a week could hurt anyone. They were just 2 friends spending some time together. Both believed that their spouses were never disadvantaged in any way. It was just a few hours a week. It was the perfect relationship that gave them excitement and extra love that had been dulled by many years of marriage. Both Nicole and Edward now saw the consequences of their actions. Edward would not forget his cheating every minute of every day for the rest of his life. His father-in-law fired Edward, he required psychiatric and medical treatment, he never played golf again and had to learn how to wipe himself fingerless. His life changed in the blink of an eye because of his perfect romance. Choices do have consequences. When meeting with Patricia Farrell, Doctor of Philosophy, a counselor, things went exactly as I expected. Ms. Farrell started the conversation. Tom, Nicole and I met this week and she explained everything to me and I explained to her how things work in our sessions. I thank you for coming and trying to find your way back. Please be honest in your answers and realize that everything that is said here stays here. I have heard all sorts of things and nothing you say will shock me. I say this to make you feel comfortable talking openly with a complete stranger. I nodded and waited to see where this was going. Nicole, please tell Tom what you hope to get out of these sessions. My cheating wife looked at me with tears in her eyes and spoke. Tom, there is so much I want to tell you. I want to bring our family back together again. I want to touch you and love you again. I want to find a way to come back to you and have everything be the way it was before. I have to say, her emotions were touching and I could feel that she meant every word. It was hard to watch her pain over the loss of my love, but I held back and sat quietly while she took a handkerchief and wiped her eyes. Mr. Marvin, what would you like to take away from these sessions? Dr. Farrell, I'd like to find a way to get the number 500 out of my head. If we can do that, I think we can get back to some kind of normalcy. I saw Nicole flinch and look away when she heard me say, 500. Mr. Marvin, I don't understand. What does that number mean and why is it so important that we get it out of your head? So, Patricia, may I call you Patricia? Let's stick with Dr. Farrell for now, shall we? Well, Patricia, I said sarcastically. I thought you had a session with Nicole this week, so that number should have shown up. I looked at Nicole and asked, Nicole, did you miss that little detail? Please Mr. Marvin, this is useless. Could you please explain the number 500? Well, as you know from my background, I am an accountant and numbers are important to me. What my lovely wife didn't tell you is that in the last 3 years, Nicole let Edward fuck her over 500 times. That number is imprinted in my brain and whenever I see Nicole, it's the first thing that comes to mind. She fucked that guy 500 times behind my back, I said with anger and tears in my eyes. There was silence for a few moments before everyone calmed down again. Mr. Marvin, I understand your pain, but such language is not necessary here. It's hurtful and unnecessary. I apologize and it won't happen again, but it was necessary to express my pain and my point of view. Nicole cried and repeated, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I finally relaxed as my outburst reduced my anger. Again, I would like to apologize for my outburst. To answer your question, I want to find a way to forgive Nicole to the point where we can have a home without hatred and anger. We have a daughter who does not deserve to suffer the consequences of my wife cheating on me. I want to find a way to live at home in peace. Thank you, Mr. Marvin. Over the next few weeks I managed to speak in a friendly tone, without venom. Things at home were going much better, not great, but better. Mary Ann was home more often, we went out to eat, to the movies, out with friends and tried to be a normal couple. The only problem was that everyone noticed that there was no intimacy between us at all. I never held Nicole's hand, we never kissed, and I never let her hug or touch me. Several friends asked Nicole what was wrong because the lack of affection was the opposite of what it had been all the years of our marriage. It was obvious we were having a hard time, but we kept going. When Nicole heard about Edward's accident, she was thunderstruck. Although Edward had never said a word about the event, Nicole knew that I wanted revenge and was probably involved in some way. She waited for my reaction. That evening when she told me how someone had broken into her former boss's house and attacked him, she watched for a reaction. She saw the slight grin flash across my face when I said, "Wow, that's something," as I continued reading the book. "Is that all you have to say?" Her tone and comment hit a nerve and I looked up and stared into her. "Oh, I'm so sorry your lover was hurt. Do you want me to send him flowers, or should we go see him, dear?" She averted her gaze and the conversation ended. Nicole knew that I was somehow responsible for this and that if she showed concern for Edward, all the progress we had made would come to an end. Earlier that week I received a message from Rob with an emoji showing a thumbs up. It was our last contact for months while things cooled down. I wondered if the police would find out about Edward and Nicole's affair and question me about the assault, but they didn't. Eventually the police put the report in the open case file and moved on to other crimes. The perpetrators or the reason for the assault were never found. As promised, Tom started dating and going out late at night. After Nicole tried to question him, she realized that she should mind her own business and not cause any problems. Tom explained that they were husband and wife only nominally and lived together for the sake of their daughter. Eventually they found a way to remain civil to each other, and their married life was outwardly tolerable. Nicole finally realized how much she had hurt her husband and there was nothing she could do about it. Tom kept their life together in the semblance of a family by letting her know that he would inform her family and friends of her affair and make her life hell if she filed for divorce before Mary Ann went to college. Nicole was considered married, but she was lonely. She had no one to give her love that she lived for. Hugs, kisses and love defined her life, and the two men she had given it to and who had given it to her were now lost. She continued to work and live a life full of sadness, and knowing that her husband was enjoying himself with another woman made it worse. Counseling helped her, but she went alone because Tom knew she could never forget the horrible betrayal. She'd done it to herself. Her vanity, selfishness and stupidity had destroyed her marriage and the man she loved. She found no sympathy from Mary Ann, who loved her mother, but every time Nicole complained about Tom, Mary Ann reminded her that Nicole had done it to herself. Mary Ann kept telling her how much her father loved her and how mortified he was when he saw Nicole with another man. Mary Ann had never forgiven her mother for hurting her father so much, but she still loved Nicole. Edward was now unemployed and divorced. He lived in a small apartment on a tight budget, giving up almost 70% of his possessions and the house his wife Lucy would live in for another 10 years, until their youngest turned 18. He suffered from depression and could no longer use his hands properly. Ironically, he stopped being with both women he loved and had sex with, and ended up alone and in need of no one. As his attackers promised, his stumps reminded him of his affair with Nicole every minute of every day. A year after the divorce, Edward was hit by a truck. A witness said Edward simply walked in front of the truck approaching at high speed without looking back. It was ruled an accidental death, but everyone close to Edward knew he had killed himself. Nicole understood why he did it, and even considered putting a similar end to her own life as well. Nicole and Edward never spoke again after their affair, and both lived in hell with the consequences of their infidelity and betrayal, in different ways, but equally painful. After Mary Ann left for college, Tom came home with divorce papers. Earlier, Tom had considered wrecking her finances and destroying Nicole, but he eventually relented and split everything equally. Over the past few years, he has forgiven her, but the love he once had is gone forever. Nicole was not shocked by the divorce papers and signed them without protest. She knew she had ruined everything and rejected love herself. But for some reason she felt relieved that she might be able to start a new life. She was sure she had learned her lesson and would never cheat again. For Tom, divorcing the woman he had loved all these years was painful, and he was filled with regret. He wished he could take back all the good things or at least find a way to forgive Nicole, but no matter how hard he tried, he could never get the number 500 out of his mind. They sold the house and split the share. Tom moved in with Christy Evans, a dancer 15 years younger than him, whom he was dating. He wasn't in love, he just wanted to have fun and catch up. In time, having regained his confidence and happiness, he found in Christy a woman he could love and cherish. Nicole never gave up hope of reconciliation and cried for weeks when she learned of his marriage. Nicole never forgave herself when she thought of the lives her selfishness and arrogance had damaged. She dated several men but never found love. She gained weight, her looks faded, and she became a lonely, depressed shell of her former self. Mary Ann and Nicole were close, but Nicole never heard from Tom again. She never again experienced the love she had with her wonderful husband, and she lived her life with the pain she had caused those closest to her. Close the window that hurts you, no matter how beautiful the view. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to rate the video and leave your comment.